Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 for Monday, April the 10th, 2023. Markets basically kind of followed through a little bit to the downside and then started to rally back up more strongly within that last hour of trade this afternoon and headed up towards, again, market highs, which puts us back on track for finishing this up still within the parameters that I've laid out. So we got a little bit lower today. So that's going to still come in. I'm still going to put the 4 right there. We'll just do that right away so that I don't forget. And then, so I'll leave that there. And now we're in this fifth wave. Now, what does that suggest for the S&P? We continue to look at the triangle pattern. Now, whether this goes here, or still can be a triangle pattern. And I'm keeping it that way, even though I'm leaving this as my preferred count, which would suggest we're in a C wave, which allows for additional upside beyond 4175, back above 4200, and possibly even as high as 4300 before that C wave would be complete. So right now, we're sitting still within the parameters where if it only got up to 4175, and basically right now, that's exactly where the resistance level is and the top channel line for the triangle. Once again, should it get there and turn and drop heavily, it's thrusting out of the triangle. So the conclusion for triangle patterns, whether they're in where the E wave is finishing higher or the E wave is finishing down, are the same, that the market will thrust up and out of the triangle, and usually the length or the width of the triangle. And that would be right here. So if it gets up to the top, we're looking for it to thrust back out and come down below 3,900. So right now, that point, and if we were over today, it'd be still 3,900. Or we can bring it all the way down, it could be 3,990. So again, but what we're essentially looking for in that first rejection, that thrusting action, it should be fast, and it should just kind of slide lower. And again, that fits on two factors. Once this entire move is complete, if it ends at 4175, I'm looking for it to shift right out of the 4100 handle pretty quickly, then out of the 4000 handle pretty quickly, and then out of the 39 handle pretty quickly, and get itself down to that bottom. So again, we're looking for a major drop. I don't feel that that's really going to kick in without a catalyst coming from the news. And again, I'm not going to go into a detail about how much is out there that could suddenly pop up and create a situation where it'd be like the market is just turning and running in the other direction for whatever reason has been presented. But I believe it will be a shock to the market. It's something that investors, traders, whomever are not expecting to happen. So it could get very interesting very quickly. So I'm leaving that up. So what we have going on still, I'm going to come back down. Let's go back to that hourly chart and let's open it up so we can take a peek. So I'm putting the 4 all the way down there, and now I'm just going to finish that up. Give me half of a shake, and we're just going to get that into place. And we'll be in place. Now you get to see how I do all of this. So anyway, so the 4 comes down there, and now 1 of 5, maybe. We'll wait and see. We're going to let the market tell us. But we're working on a fifth wave. Now, where can it end up? Let's go out to the 4 hour, back to the 1 hour. And now I'm going to put in some fibs for that fifth wave, if indeed it's what it's going to be. So we go up, we're going to go to the top there. We're going to come back down to here. And what do we have? We're now a little bit above, so we have 4154. I think it should just get up through there pretty quickly. It might stumble, it might pause around here a little bit, use it like a point of control, but eventually I'll be looking for it to get above get up to 41.75, but the next level is 41.88. So could it get up, thrust through, reject? Again, if it's a triangle, that's what we're going to be looking for, not to get too much further above this trend line or this boundary level for the triangle before it would turn and be rejected. So again, we have above that. So in case it is, as I'm presenting, going to be a 5-wave structure up, then we're looking at 41.88, 42.16, 42.43. Now we got a nice little cluster right here. Wave 5 coming in at 6.618 of wave 3. Very, very common. That's going to be 42.43. So we're above 4,200. Fulfills one of those destinations that the market really believes it needs to do. Continuing higher, we have 43, 57, 64, 83. And then we're up into that next cluster, which takes into consideration that 4,300. So again, technically, these levels are possible. If we put it into current market conditions, we see them buying in. So without outside pressure, the zero DTE options and those players continue to have control of this market as to where it's going to be pinned every day. Today, that was 41.35 to 41.40. Look at where it closed. 41.39, but it traded above 41.40 before sliding back lower again. So that continues to be the driving force for the direction of the S&P. We started to slide off this morning right after the opening, came in, bam, 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 hit the low, and started to just produce what would ultimately become the push back towards the strike prices within the SPX and the Nasdaq and the ES to get it closed. So wherever the largest open interest was, and quite frankly, it was 4,100 in the SPX. And then above that, 4105, 4110. They all built up open interest. Sure enough, where did it go? The SPX ended up closing at 4109. And so we got very close to that 4110 level. That kind of goes out. I'm not sure how that expiration will work out or how much may or may not get exercised at 4110. Remember, it's cash. So you got the 4105. We're going to look and see what is in development for tomorrow, and it may just as well come in at 4,200. It's not that big of a stretch if they can get it going. Or we're going to hang out, we're going to wait, and they do again another within this area. Don't forget, we got CPI on Wednesday and PPI on Thursday. So we still have things out there that should put a little bit of a spin on what the market's going to do. So that's what we have for the S&P. And right now, we are continuing to look that our moving averages pretty flat. The 200 flat, the 50 actually stayed flat, but the 4, the 8, and the 20 flipped higher. So they're going to get a little bit of support. We get the 50s turning up, and so we should continue to see some additional upside. And eventually, we're looking for it to break there, 41.71. And where does it come in? The top of the triangle, 41.75. Does the trick. So again, we're going to see. Over in the Nasdaq, same deal. The Nasdaq was down 200 points early on and ends up closing up 8. So it was quite an interesting day to watch nonetheless. So here as well, I think that was a very extended, bizarre 4, but I am still going to put the 4 here. This is a 1, ABC 2. So now we're in that 3 of 5, because again, here in the Nasdaq's in a little bit different. It's not a triangle pattern in the Nasdaq. It's a straight ABC, and we're in the C wave. So within that C wave, we've now completed waves 1 through 4, leaving us in that 5th wave, which is, according to what I can see, subdividing. And that's exactly what we're looking for. That's exactly what I want to see. I want to see these things subdivide and form now 5 waves of minute degree to complete the whole move. So again, I'm going to take out this fib. Those are the extensions, which if we had extended downside, and I had to mark this as the high, that did not play out. We did not break to a new low. So I'm going to put a 1 right there, and it's going to be a small, minute wave 1. There, I'm going to put a minute wave 2 here. So what did we begin? Coming into the end of the day, a third wave. So here again, I'm going to put the first one up. I will fill that in a second. I'm going to put the first one up for the third wave. And then we're going to be looking at these. May not get very far, but we're going to see how it should look. So here we have at 100, where wave 3 would be equal to wave 1 at 1/3 at 13,217. More likely 1.618. So automatically, suddenly look where we are. Back above 13,300, and in fact, moving above, excuse me, that high. Putting in some completion points here, and we're still within just 3 of 5. So we could get 3 or 5 down here below, do a 4, and then do an initial 5, because here's our zone. These remain active and very vulnerable to be available to complete this entire C wave. So again, we got to let the market have the room that they need so that if necessary, we're going to get up higher, obviously, but above that 13,467 level. It's going to be quite the push, but again, we've got numbers where depends on how they want to interpret them. It depends on how the market's going to be treating now all the information that it's going to be receiving. Lately, we've been noticing that what it really is turning into is just another buying opportunity because of the 0 DTE options. Here, those 0 DTE options are not necessarily in the NQ or the NDX because they don't really trade that much. They're in the Qs. And today, for the Qs, it was 318. So it got up to above 318, and it slid back down. So I'm not sure what they're going to use, but basically it was 318. So it's 317 to 318, and it tested both. So again, here, looking for higher. We might actually get up to maybe only 13,217, maybe up to 13,000 up here, 256, 276, up in that area. Pull back in a 4, pull up in a 5, and get up here to 13,368. That is where wave 5, right, would be 382 of wave 3. But we're going to be able to narrow that down as we get up and get inside these levels. Here again, ultimately, we still have much, much, much higher levels, but there's got to be a catalyst. There has to be something that's going to propel the market through all of the resistance and push it up against everything that is actually happening for real. That's why I said these are possible, but I'm not looking for them. I'm looking for something that's going to be more resembling what could fit for the current count and where we're sitting and what comes next. All right, so that is basically the S&P and the Nasdaq for today. So again, tomorrow, if we get downside in here and this turns into an A, B, C flat, I'm not sure what I'll call it, but it could be, and then we'd be looking for it to come back down and likely break. So that again, right? If I leave this as a 4, we get an A, B, C, and it's turning into just a flat position, basically, then I'm going to wonder what all of this is. So we still have that possibility where the market is all done. And this is a 4, maybe this was the 5, as small as they are. I don't like to do that. I like to see more pronounced and subdivided. But if the market doesn't give us a choice, I know that we can put a 5 there and declare the whole thing over. And then that's going to be it. And then what we have then is 1, 2, get out of the way. So that's how both sides, we have an upside, we have a downside, and that's how they would fit. Now it's up to the market. All right. I am going to leave it right there. And Our next update will be on Tuesday, April the 11th.